We got the Avengers together. Isn't that what Larry Slander called us one time
Yes,
when we all get
yes, he
together?
did.
Shout out, hi Larry. He promotes every time I put out a
He
podcast,
is
an
so awesome.
episode. He promotes it. Like,
He
good job,
does.
Larry. That's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, I did a bad thing. I rewatched the game.
Oh my God.
Why?
Why?
I know.
Wow.
I
What
know.
did you do wrong?
That's the thing. It's Catholic guilt. I felt this like,
I was gonna
well,
say, like, Catholics like flail themselves. That's like Steelers
right,
fans' version of like
right.
flailing.
I strike my chest. Yeah, and you know what? Watching it again, it was even worse.
Oh yeah.
My God,
I don't know what you were expecting to get out of that, but
Either.
like I said, it was guilt.
If you were looking for that one good play, it wasn't there.
Mm-mm.
That's a thing that drives me insane. I went all the way down there to watch the game, and there was, I would say it was 50-50 Steelers fans.
Yeah.
At least.
Wow.
At least. They gave us nothing to cheer for. There was like one or two plays where we were able to wave our terrible towels and cheer. That's it. The entire day, it was a total domination by the Texans. And I will never, I was so angry and embarrassed. I didn't even watch the fourth quarter. I couldn't. I just started walking around. It's a very big stadium, and that's all I could say about it. It really doesn't have any. It's like the Texans; they don't really have any character. They're just
Right.
it's new and pretty, just like the team. That's all I could
Right.
say. Nothing
Wow.
special. The only interesting thing is the Astrodome is still there. The Astrodome is
Yep.
right next to Energy Stadium.
Oh.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Astrodome at the time was the Astrodome like the first dome or something like that, or it was okay.
Yeah.
It was considered, I believe they call it the eighth wonder of the world. This
Yeah.
modern
It was
technological
huge.
Marvel.
this thing, this marvel. It looks like a thimble next to Energy Stadium. They're right next to each other.
That's
Literally, it's
crazy.
like two or three times. It's the Energy Stadium is like two or three Astrodomes. It is crazy. I'm like because I've been in the Astrodome. You look at it, and it is just this vast, huge
Yeah.
thing, and it's just tiny compared to Energy
Did
Stadium.
they
Yeah.
still
I was
use
there
it for
once as a
something?
kid.
They still use it for trade shows, from what I understand. But
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
trade
I
shows,
think they have like concerts and stuff there too, or something like that.
rodeos,
Yeah.
things like that. I
Things
think
like that. Yeah. I
they're
was there
trying to,
once as a kid.
yeah. I've you know what? It's an annual thing now. When at what point do I lose hope? At what point do I give up on the season? Congratulations, I've given up on the season. We're
Earlier
done.
than ever before.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Week four,
Week
four,
four.
we're done. Sayonara. Good luck, Steelers. Um, let's just go around. What do we all think about this? What are our opening thoughts?
Part of
Let's
me
go.
wants to say that it's too soon to give up, only because there's so many teams that are not playing up to their potential right now. But there were so many expectations. You know what I mean? Like the season was so overhyped so hyped that now it seems like it's overhyped. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that they talked about in the offseason is coming to fruition. There's no ground game. Kenny Pickett doesn't look any better. He actually looks worse than he did when he first came into the game last year. Yep. So it's like, he's regressing and it's frustrating. So I don't want to give up, but there really isn't anything showing me that I should still have some hope.
LeeAnn?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Allison. I mean, my gut tells me it's too soon to give up. Like we saw other teams like Cincinnati last year that had like a slow start and managed to turn their season around and make it to the playoffs and all these things. Brian McFadden talked on his podcast today about the 2005 Steelers and how they lost, forget, for 3 or 4 games in a row. And everybody was like, these guys are bums. They're slouches. You know what I mean? And then they came back and made it to the Super Bowl. But then there's another part of me that recognizes like those are the exceptions of the rule. My concern is that if we have another slow start to the year, like we did last season, and we turn it around, we get above 500, what changes between this year and next year that prevents that you can't start slow every year in the NFL and be successful. So what is going to change that changes that pattern? Does Kenny always need time to warm up? Like, this is crazy. We can't do this every year. Does the offensive line always need 5 weeks to get their act together? Like, the same thing. It's crazy. You can't do that. Is it Matt Canada needs time to work out? That's crazy too. So it's frustrating. And then I was really frustrated. I expect very little from Tomlin. I've said on here before that, like, I like that he's a coach that doesn't say a whole lot. Do you know what I mean? I prefer that than the guys that rant and rave and scream and yell. But I did expect him to say something today at the press conference regarding that supposed change. And to hear him say, like, oh, when I meant change, I was talking about physicality. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, at least lie to us. Lie to me.
Yeah.
Tell
Total
me
cop out.
It
Total
doesn't have
cop
to
out.
be firing Canada, but tell me something real. Like, physicality is a baseline expectation. That's not a change you make week 5.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, there's no change. I mean, you know, it's just, to me, it's more lip service from Tomlin. And what I took out of that press conference today was almost as scary as what I saw Sunday. Is I don't think he knows what to do. I don't think he knows how to fix it. He talked about, we're going to get back in pads. We're going to hit hard. Hey, let me tell you something. You were in pads for longer
The
than
training camps for
season. You know,
yeah.
I don't see how it's going to fix it. And I thought really and I think Allison has a good point. They're 2-2, or, you know, it's only 4 weeks in the season and where they're sitting. But when that 4th and 1 play is a play I keep coming back to for a couple of reasons. And one of the big ones is the run game was going good in the second half.
Yes.
At this point, Najee was averaging 5.5 yards a carry. He was really doing well. They had a chance to come back in that game. And you go, and it's 4th and really half a yard at that point, and you go into a shotgun. I mean, that, to me, that is just a sign of you are so chaotic. You don't know what to even call. You don't know what to do. And I don't think Matt Canada knows what he's doing. I really don't. I don't think Tomlin knows how to fix it. I think they're in big trouble. I mean, this is where we didn't want to be. You know, a month ago we sat here and we were all saying 10 wins, 11 wins. You know, there's something there, I said, and we all kind of agreed that's probably what it was. Whatever that there was is gone now. And I just don't know. Like, Kenny Pickett is a good point. He's regressing. You know, I think he's not shouldering enough blame, and he's not looked good. The offensive lines look horrible. There's a lot to blame besides Kenny Pickett, but he's also a victim of this down spiral.
Yeah.
And until they figure out or make a turnaround here, I just don't know. You know, and the thing that, and Joe, I told you this last week, what I was scared about with that line was somebody was going to get hurt. They're very, very lucky. Kenny Pickett. I don't think Kenny's going to play Sunday, first of all. I think it's going to be Trubisky. I think they get any role in the bye week. They're just going to make sure, you know, it's kind of an Austin Eckler thing's going through that with the Chargers right now. They're just making sure, and then they're going to let the leash go. But they got really lucky. They got really lucky. It was an ACL or something worse. And, it's kind of a double-edged sword, guys, because, okay, fire Canada. I'm all for it, but what's it really going to do? How the hell are they going to fix that, too? If they go and fire him, okay, they fired him, which is what a lot of us want. Now what? I mean, are you going to promote the
There's
quarterback?
no great change coming behind that, like people think.
Right. You know, so I don't know.
Yes, there is. Yes, it will. First of all, it won't happen. Just like Darren said, spoiler alert, nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change this year, but we'll talk about next year.
Yeah,
I have a feeling about something, and I'm not just talking about Matt Canada.
I did hear that the offensive line after the game this past weekend was really frustrated. They felt like things with the offense, the plays were very chaotic, and that they said that it felt like they weren't committing to the run game, and the run game was going well, but then they wouldn't just commit to it. So as soon as they would start settling in and making some progress in that way, like Canada would give up and call like the 4th and 1 play. Do you know what I mean? And give up on it. So, you know, they were expressing some frustration. I heard after the game to the media that, you know, they wish they had just stuck with the run game a bit, you know, and then the offensive line takes all this heat for screwing up. And while they owned that there was mistakes made, they also felt like the play calling was so chaotic they couldn't get in a rhythm.
Let's go back. Let's go to the offensive line. The offensive line is basically the same line as last year, with one exception. Now 2 of them, but one exception, Isaac Seumalo, which was supposed to be an upgrade. That line was playing pretty well at the end of last year, and now they look horrible. I think it's all related to Matt Canada. Here's why. The offense is horrible. The offense sucks. And I'll have Kenny Pickett takes most of the blame for this. But Matt Canada, the plays he calls are so bad and his offense is so predictable. This isn't Spygate. We are basically handing the other team a note and saying, here is the play we're going to call. They know exactly what we're doing before we do it. They might know it. The defense might know the Steelers' offensive plays better than the Steelers' offense.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the offense
is saying this all last year.
Yeah.
We've been saying this ever since Matt Canada took over the position, and nothing is different.
And zero adjustments, like zero adjustments throughout the game. You know what I mean? And
no
at all. I mean, no adjustments are made. We watched on the fly as Houston made some adjustments, you know what I mean, to what we were doing on defense. And then we go out as offense and like bumbling idiots. You know what I mean? We changed nothing. We know they have our number and we changed nothing.
They asked Steven Nelson, the former Steelers cornerback who plays for the Texans, and he had an interception. They said, what can you tell us about that play? It's like, we knew it was coming.
Yes.
We knew when we saw Austin deployed that way, I knew they were going to go deep with him. So I knew what to do. That is how mind-numbingly predictable this offense is. I don't know if you folks follow Warren Sharp. He breaks this down every week.
I saw that.
Terrible Matt Canada is. Almost every single time when it's shotgun, it's a pass. When he's behind center, it's a run. It's the most predictable thing ever. I remember watching the Cleveland game. There were some plays where the defense was like, it's like they knew. It's like they knew exactly what was going to happen, and they were like right on top of the offensive line. So that's why I say the offensive line is basically the same thing. They are just getting overwhelmed because the defense knows what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And you know, I mean, you had both of the safeties were sitting on top of the routes yesterday for most of the second half, and you know that's what got Pickens, frustrated. And that's a guy you don't want to have frustrated because he's already vocal. I mean, that's a guy I could see he's going to be out of here and not want to extend or anything. He's going to walk. They should have fixed this last year. I mean, to be honest with you, Canada should have been fired at the end of last season.
Yes.
You know, and to me, you say so much on Canada. I agree with you to a point, but it's also on Mike Tomlin for bringing him back. I think the offensive line coach that he promoted, a lot of us questioned that at the time. He seems to be that was just a great idea. It wasn't. There was other viable candidates, and I just really question it. And when you look at Mike Tomlin's coaching tree, it's not good.
I have a feeling that that's not on Tomlin. This is just a guess. This is just speculation that Tomlin has no control over who his offensive coordinator.
I have
a feeling that comes from the owner.
That could be a fair point.
Could be.
But
I don't know. That's just a guess.
I think it's also, you know, we're so disappointed because we're on such a high again. You know, I think we all thought, you know, hey, we're gonna contend for the AFC North crown. And right now we're in a dogfight to I don't know what. Like, you know, again, to Allison's point, I mean, they might be able to turn us around. It is early. We've seen worse. We've seen this and that happen. We all remember what happened in 1989. You know, but man, they look more like the Mike Tomczak Steelers and the mid 80s Steelers to me over than, you know, right in some of those late 90s, early 2000 teams.
Let's go to that 4th and 1 play. Sorry, Allison, were you saying something?
No, I'm just agreeing.
By the way, whoever's siren that was, I hope that's the police trying to arrest Matt Canada.
That was me. That's why I was hoping it was in your neighborhood. Not mine.
Sorry.
Who, by the way, has a burner account. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I saw that. That
was
it's
totally
not really
him.
That's funny.
Where do you go? Where in your mind do you go? It's like, I'm going to make a separate Twitter account so I can attack the people that are attacking me.
I don't think he would.
I don't know.
He's a child. You know what I mean? Like, we already know
he is a child.
He's too childish to put together a smart game plan. So I mean, he's immature, so he's gonna go ahead and make a burner account, which who knows if it's really him or not. It could just be a burner account trying to be a burner account. You know what I mean? Like somebody trying to pretend like they're
hard to
spend
say.
more time on a burner account than drawing up a play that will
maybe.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I have a feeling if that's like really him and really his email address and really him doing that, I think his ass would be grass with the organization. I don't think that's something that would go over very well. So
yeah,
it's not him.
So
maybe it's a fireable offense.
Yeah,
could be.
That would be the thing he gets fired for. How Pittsburgh Steelers would that be to lose our OC because he does like inappropriate social media posts, not because his like offense is crap.
Right. Yeah, he made a burner account. He's gone. I learned something on my road trip too, Joe. Now I know you were in Houston. I was in Chicago. So I was in Chicago for the Penn State Northwestern game, and I'm coming back Sunday. And a lot of times I like to listen to the Steelers radio app, right? So I listen to God bless Tunch, I miss him. I listen to Wolf and on there. So we drove across Indiana, got the whole game. We got in Ohio, and it shut off. And I didn't know there's something called geo-blocking.
Geofencing, yeah.
Yes. So in the state of Ohio, you can't listen to the Steelers app.
No way.
We crossed the line, like we crossed the toll gate from Indiana and Ohio. It shuts off.
That's incredible.
It's wild.
Right. So we flip on, and it also, so what happens on Sirius Radio, the Steelers broadcast was supposed to be on channel 82, which is Mad Dog Radio. That was also just ran, the Sirius commercial. The only way I could get it was to listen to the Texans broadcast.
Wow.
Wow.
Second half of the game,
That's
I listened
super
to
childish.
Yes.
Yeah. So second half of the game, I listened to the Texas.
Totally.
Yeah. And Andre Ware is their color guy. I don't know if you remember Andre Ware. He won the trophy. Detroit Lions, kind of a bust with the Lions, but a great college athlete. And he sat there and just it was almost hilarious. He's like, I can't believe they're going for a shotgun on 4th and 1. And then the one that killed me was on that 4th and 2. You're down 4th and 2 and you're going to punt. And he flat out said, he goes, this is not the Pittsburgh Steelers I grew up watching. This is not the Pittsburgh Steelers I know. He said, I can't believe they're basically giving up. And he said, I'm not saying
Mike Tomlin says we don't live in our fears. We look like that was the only place we lived.
We have a very solid residence in our fears.
Well, he probably wasn't confident that Matt Canada could have done anything with it.
Well,
then why is he there? Then if that's the case, then why is he there?
Naked pictures.
Everybody on Tuesday that the naked pictures can come out. Oops, sorry. At this point, like I don't care who he's got naked pictures of, but like if that's the truth, then stop telling us on Tuesdays that you're so confident in this offense. Do you know what I mean? In your coaching staff, and nothing's changing, and then be too scared to let him run a 4th and 2 play.
Okay, so yeah, there was 4th and 2, and they decide to punt, which was mind blowing. And then on 4th and 1. Now they are down 16-6, and they were in field goal range. That would have brought it to 16-9. You're within one score in the middle of almost the end of the third quarter. You're in it. You're good, and they decide to go for it. And Tomlin's explanation for why they went on shotgun on 4th and 1 was because Dan Moore was out of the game and Pat Freiermuth was out of the game, so we don't have our big personnel, so there's no way we could run. You know what? Shut the whole thing down. Stop the season. If you can't get a yard with any combination of players that are still healthy on that team, shut it down. Just go home. Go home.
Pat Freiermuth can't block anyway.
Right. The Eagles put in their JV league and shoved Jalen Hurts 1 yard up the field every single time. Like they never don't make that 4th and 1. So you can't tell me they couldn't have picked it up. Like I don't understand it. They know if you're not getting in that formation to shove your quarterback in the fanny across the line, then you're going to go into this little pass. I mean, they knew it. Everybody knew it. I knew it. Send it home. I don't even coach.
Yeah, I thought that was like it's only again week 4, but it's a summation of the whole season. Like, this is the way it's gonna be. It's gonna be bad. And I don't know. I just that's a poor excuse, Joe, because so then what they do is when you do that, what you should do is a fake toss. And I'm not a coach either, but what I would do is you fake toss left and you roll right to somebody that's empty, or run it.
Yeah.
Have Kenny run it. And what do? So you still have the pass rush come right up the left side of the line that he's so worried about, and he has a backup, a rookie starting, tackle there. That makes no sense. I mean, it just, I don't know.
Now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but in Matt Cannon's defense, that was all on Kenny Pickett. He had options.
Totally.
There were open people. He did the worst possible thing. There were like 3 different options, and he basically just crapped. Just did the
he
worst
panicked.
possible.
He got out of that. He's been doing that all year. He's been
He
getting
does.
he's been skittish.
He missed
And it's
a wide
weird because
open
he
Connor
hasn't he scrambled last year, but it didn't seem like, and there were some situations, sure, where he scrambled to, but he's skittish. It's something like he's got PTSD from maybe the concussions, or
he has regressed terribly.
I don't know.
He has not looked like when Josh Allen runs or Tua runs.
Yeah.
They're kind of running with a purpose. Like, it's almost designed. Like, he knows where he's got to be. He's going to make the effort to get there.
They make a decision and go.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe go a little bit more than what they want him to.
Yeah.
But no, Kenny looks like a chicken out there, like just a dart weave, dart. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he
Even
does.
Ben, who wasn't a runner, was more decisive than Kenny Pickett is when it came to the little runs Ben did. He would make a decision and then he would go and then he would drop. I don't want to get hit. I'm going to drop. But everybody blamed Broderick Jones for Pickett getting hurt. He was not to blame. That was
no, that was all on Pickett.
Yeah.
Pickett ran
100%.
into he went to the worst possible place you could go and ran into that
He
guy's
made the worst decision he could.
Yeah. So now from that play, Kenny Pickett is hurt. He injured his knee. They said, we'll see how it goes. Bone bruise, blah, blah, blah. So it's not like a, season ending knee injury or something like that. But the bye week is after this game. I say, let him sit. Because obviously in his head, he is just not there right now. Give Mitch Trubisky a full week of practice. Just let Kenny sit for 2 weeks. I'm not saying the whole season. Let Kenny sit for 2 weeks and just clear your head, dude, and maybe just watch the game from a different perspective, because he is just lost right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but the only thing is like, if he's good enough to go, like, he doesn't even have to be 100%. If he's good enough to go, he's going to go. Tomlin's not going to sit him. Kenny's going to play. That's what athletes do. If they can do it, they do.
But he's not even like a game manager. Do you know what I mean? He's not even like a game manager. Like, Zach Wilson goes out and does some game management better than Kenny Pickett has been doing. Like, he's not even doing that right now. Do you know what I mean? So it's frustrating because it doesn't make you wonder. We talked about this last year, that when Mitch Trubisky came in for Kenny, if he knew Kenny wasn't breathing down his back, Mitch played some decent football. Do you know what I mean? So would Mitch play better than Kenny? Do you know what I mean? Is Kenny like so skittish that he just shouldn't be out there? I mean, to me, he just doesn't even seem like he's making good game management decisions on top of the already bad play calling.
Yeah.
And whatever the heck is going on with the wide receivers.
Yeah. And then if Mitch plays well, there's going to be like, oh, is there a quarterback controversy? You know what I mean? But then
I don't care if there is.
Get over that.
Go ahead. Let there be a quarterback controversy. I don't care. I don't care if they switch off every week. And if Mitch is getting it done and Kenny's not, then bench his ass.
There's zero outcome this week for this game that would not make people speculate in one direction or the other. Do you know what I mean? If Kenny doesn't perform well, it's going to be, we should have played Mitch. If Kenny does perform well, then it's going to be like, well, this was all Matt Canada's fault. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's no winning. The media is going to have a field day with it one way or the other.
Yeah, I could see, like I said, I could see it going either way. I could see Mitch starting, but to your point, he might say, no, I got to play, and I want to catch the spirit of my teammates and, do this and do that and be out there. But, it's at this point, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. I mean, each week it's like, a guessing game as to, hey, they came off that Raiders win and it was against the Raiders. Kenny finally throws 2 touchdowns, had a quarterback rating of 103.5, looked pretty good. And then we go, and that's what I said. I remember saying to Joe, these are 2 winnable games before we get Baltimore. They're 2 winnable games. They should get us to where we are and have a little bit of breathing room. Now you get the Ravens coming in here, and they're going to be ready. And we're already a 3.5 point underdog in our own house, which after last week's loss, why the hell not?
Right.
Seems generous.
Spoiler alert, they're losing this game. I'm 100%, and I know exactly how it's going to go down. They're going to play better than they did against Houston, and it's not going to matter. They're going to lose 24-22. I've never been more correct. I've never been more sure about anything in my life. Bet the house on it. Bet your neighbor's house on it. Take a load. They're losing this game. What is it right now? Baltimore by 3.5. Okay, so maybe the Steelers will cover. I would just take the Baltimore money line and just be safe. The Ravens are winning this game, and it'll be close, which will make it even more more frustrating. But they're not going to get it done.
We haven't even touched
on. Something tells me they're going to win. I think they're going to play with. They're going to be hot. You know what I mean? They
will play with more passion, that's for sure.
They've always played Lamar Jackson really well. I mean, Lamar's having a year and whatever, but I just don't. I mean, on the one time, I don't think Lamar's played very much against the Steelers during his career.
Only a handful of times.
Right?
Not but his backups have.
For whatever reason, I have a feeling they're going to win. But I agree, Joe. It is going to be close. I feel like they're going to win, but it is going to be close.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 16-13 game, and we haven't even gotten to Pat. I mean, how disappointing has Patrick Peterson been? I mean, here was the guy we thought was going to come in, shore up that defensive backfield. He's looked bad.
The entire defense.
He's got a pick, but you shouldn't be lining him up with the speedsters. And I can tell you right now, Zay Flowers is going to have a field day with him if they match him up.
Oh, it's going to kill him.
He's going to kill him. It's just, here's I forget now. That just escaped me. I had it written down, Joe. The guy that took a pick 6 back on Sunday for Seattle.
Devin Witherspoon. I was just going to bring that up.
Who played 37 snaps. Why in the hell are you not playing Joey Porter Jr. more snaps?
Rookie quarterback drafted this year is playing all the time, but they won't play Joey Porter Jr. Now, why are Patrick Peterson was brought in? He's too old to be a starting outside corner, but he's perfect for like dime, nickel, slot corner. He's perfect for that. You drafted Joey Porter to be your other corner, so let him do that. Stop with the training wheels.
I would agree with the training wheels if Peterson was playing well. Do you know what I mean? But he's not. So you've got to make the best decision you can. I mean, why is he getting treated any different than we would treat our quarterback? We benched Mitch Trubisky when it wasn't working. Do you know what I mean? So why wouldn't you do the same thing here? And I'm not even saying bench him. I agree with Joe. I think you just mix it up a little bit, and there's other packages he comes in on. But every time Porter's out there, we see him making plays. And I'm not foolish enough to believe that, like, if he plays, like, all of our secondary woes are solved. I don't think that's the case. But, I think we've seen some really good stuff from Levi Wallace. And I think that with Peterson back there, with Joey Porter back there, I think it would make a big difference. Why not try it? What we're doing is not working.
And that's the other thing, a departure from the nickel. I mean, the Steelers played in the nickel more than any other team besides the Chiefs last year in the NFL. And now you depart from it and you put Peterson in a losing position when you do that. Joe's right. They brought him in. He could play dime. He could play nickel. And now he's out there playing every down. It's just, none of it's been that great. Marvin Leal hurt again. Poor kid. I think he could be great, but the injury bug's just been sitting on him. And so
play the kids, play Benton, play Mount Washington, play Joey Porter, play the kids, because what they're doing. And this defense, my goodness, they made the Texans look like the greatest show on turf.
Really.
The Houston Texans hadn't won back-to-back games in 684 days. That's true. That's a stat.
Oh, my God.
684 days since they won back-to-back games.
Oh, my goodness.
Everything should have said we should have won that game except the way execution and the coaching.
Now, they actually decided to start trying to win this year. They actually got a coach. They got the coach, the defensive coach from the 49ers, D'Amico Ryan.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Then he got an offensive coach from the 49ers.
Who's
So it's
12?
What's that?
He looks like he's 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But they're like the 49ers light. Do you know what I mean? Like
The
the
49ers light, but their scheme,
really.
just like the real 49ers, the 49ers regular destroyed the Steelers. 49ers light also destroyed the Steelers because they do this crazy thing where they knew that Watt and Highsmith were going to be over aggressive and come in, so they just did a little dink and do a bubble screen every single time, and it fooled them every single time.
Mm-hmm.
They made who is that running back? Not Pierce. The other running back. They made the Texans running backs look like the love child of Walter Payton and Jim Brown, like the greatest running back that ever lived. Like, you've got to be kidding me. And this is not just this game. You know, every game there's like a 70-yard run or something like that. The only game that didn't happen was Las Vegas, and frankly, the Raiders suck.
We let Nick Chubb's backup come in and look like Nick Chubb. Like, how is that a thing? Like, how is that a thing? Come on now. How are you surprised by this? You're playing Nick Chubb. You know what he's going to do. And you know you're not going to stop him every time. But so how do you not tighten up a lot? And this was an issue last year, and it was supposedly fixed over the offseason, and it doesn't look any better.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I can see why the offense is bad, but the defense, what the hell happened there?
Yeah.
And you know what? All we do is say, fire Matt Canada, fire Matt Canada. Nobody says a dang thing about Terrell Austin. And I think he might be just as bad as Matt Canada.
Yeah.
But really, the real defensive coordinator of the Steelers is Mike Tomlin. So
I was gonna say.
I've given up on the Steelers this season, and I've given up on Mike Tomlin. His contract is over. They did not sign him. They did not re-sign him this summer. His contract is done at the end of the 2024 season. I could see a scenario where if things go really bad this season, they just say, "Hey man, thanks a lot. We'll wait you out." See, oh, hello, puppy.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, he's so cute. Hi, cutie.
What's your doggy's name?
Ewok.
Ewok. Hi, Ewok.
I love that.
Can Ewok be a coordinator?
Can you be a coordinator?
Can you call plays?
Yeah.
Offense or defense, we'll take either.
Call plays? What do you think? You call plays? Yeah, we'll call plays. You do good at that, wouldn't you?
We going outside?
This is so cute.
Outside?
He's like, will you pay me in treats?
Right. Bacon is involved.
Right.
I didn't mean to say bacon. Lay back down. Bentley was like, "Did you bacon?"
Bacon.
He went from dead sleep to upright.
There was a quote from Mitch Trubisky, which was pretty telling. He said, "We just got to show some heart. More hearts will help this offense." Bro, first of all, the only person that showed up to work on last Sunday was Najee Harris. He tried to put the entire team on his back, and he almost pulled it off. He was the only one that tried.
And at that point,
all the crap people say about him. Yeah.
I would have been fine with that. If they went that second half and gave him 23 carries and Warren like 10, then do it. I don't care if it's because, and again, listen to that stupid Texas post game I had to listen to. I forget the one lineman from the Texans even said, honestly, we gave up back-to-back field goals. They were going in for another. He said, we kind of had our backs against the wall until that 4th and 1 had changed the tide for us too.
Yeah.
And then,
totally.
Again, in the 4th and 2, when they punted on 4th and 2, he said they still had some momentum. And he said, when they punted on 4th and 2, we felt we had them. He said, we had them on that 4th and 2. And that's the thing. Like, you're trying to play, checkers when they're playing chess. 4th and 2, and you're punting the ball. For God's sakes, you should have had the will to win. And I think that broke everybody's back in that game. Hey, we don't believe in you. We don't know what the frick we're doing, so we're just going to punt. Well, the one thing the Ravens do, I hate to say it, is they'll gouge your eyes out if you show any sign of weakness. I mean, they come to play. I think Joe's right. It's not going to be like 35-0. It's going to be like a 19-16, 24-20, something like that.
It's always
But
a weird score.
I'll be interested to see if they start doing stuff like that again. That's when you know you've lost the house. You've lost the coaching. The players no longer believe in the coaches. If Baltimore does come in and blows us up, then I think there's a big problem. Because I think that's just an internal struggle there between the coaching staff, the players, the execution, and that's the thing. In the past, you're right, Joe. It's been close. I think this game will be very telling as to where this team is in the locker room, on the field, on the sidelines. If it stays close, maybe we have a chance to resurrect this. If it's not, then I think the season's lost.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so many of us called it a trap game. It's a trap game. It's a trap game. It's a trap game. They'll be thinking about the Ravens next week. Trap game. The Houston's not that good. I'll tell you what, though. CJ Stroud, that's a dude.
Yeah.
That guy might be the real deal. He looks so comfortable out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I heard someone say today that's what a real first-round quarterback pick looks like. And man, it was like, dagger to the heart. Dagger to the heart.
CJ Stroud.
I tweeted that, and that's I said that. I mean, he looks like a first round pick.
Yeah.
And I do believe Kenny is a victim of the circumstance he's in. But at some point, you also got to step up and start delivering. And to Allison and LeeAnn's point to the very beginning of this podcast, he's regressing, and it's evident. And you have all these Pitt fans. I know, Joe, you're one of them, but you're not in that kind of category where he can do no wrong. Well, I'm sorry. He's doing wrong. And
he was supposed to be, a ready-made NFL quarterback because he spent, 15, 20 years at Pitt or something like that.
Right.
He was working on his doctorate, I think.
Right.
Right.
He spent so long, had so much experience, so he should be smarting up. And hey, it's a thing, sophomore slump. We get it. But there's something else going on here. He is just totally lost.
It's more than that.
I think I joked about the full Matt Canada experience a couple weeks ago, but I think that's it. I think last year it was bad. And then when they brought in Kenny and after the bye, they quote unquote dumbed down the offense. And then they figured, okay, well, now you're in your second year. You're going to know all this. We expect you to know all this. Here you go. Here's the full curriculum. And he is just lost because Matt Canada. What they need to do, what they need to go back to do is dumbing it down again. Just dumb it down. Go to something that works. Because right now, almost nothing works. And yes, and you know what? Another thing, they miss Deontay Johnson pretty bad because basically the other team is doubling and tripling Pickens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They miss Deontay Johnson, and that defense misses Cam Hayward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've said this too, and I even watching Sunday's game, I like Freiermuth. I'm a Penn State guy. But I still go back to that draft, and I would have taken Creed over him any day of the week, and he's the best center in football right now for the Chiefs. And man, could we use that guy right now? I mean,
it's like Allison said, Freiermuth hasn't been doing anything. Remember, in that first game against San Francisco, he got rocked in the chest. And he came back, but it looks like he is like a shell of his former self. He's probably really hurts. So you know what? Now he has a hamstring.
Ribs.
Probably.
Yeah, I think he had broken ribs because I heard after that game he couldn't even talk. He was like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think he either, I don't know, really badly bruised or broke a rib. But I mean, if he did, that's really painful and takes a long time to heal.
That hurts to even sneeze. So I don't know. I hope they can keep it close. I think we all talked about this, and Joe and I have been talking about it from week to week, girls, and I've seen you guys talk about it on your show, is these division games are so paramount. They got to win over Cleveland. If they could somehow figure out a win against Baltimore, it's the ship's righted a little bit because these are so important. So this is a big, big game for this early in the season.
Look at what we have. remember, look at what we have in the AFC North.
Yeah.
We all assumed beginning of the year, oh, Cincinnati's going to run away with this thing. And then maybe the Steelers will be good, and maybe Baltimore will be good, and maybe Cleveland, maybe they'll be good, and we'll all be fighting for second place. Well, Cincinnati went straight to hell. There, you think the Steelers got it bad? Cincinnati just got blown out by the Titans. Okay, so Cincinnati might be out of it. It might be between the Steelers, Ravens, and Browns. So this game is critical. If they
So
get
critical.
out a win against the Ravens, they are good. If they don't, it could get ugly. It could get ugly. And Allison, you brought up in the beginning of this, what are we going to do? Have another poor start and then have another strong finish?
Right.
Here's the problem with that. The easy part of the schedule is in the beginning. The really hard part of the schedule is at the end of the season. You're not going to have a strong start to this. Last year was the opposite. Last year it was brutal at the beginning and then easy at the end. Here it's reversed. They can't wait till week 10 or something to actually figure it out. They need to do well now so they can survive the end.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to put that much importance on a game. It's only week 5, but it's there. It's staring them right in the face, and it's going to smack them in the face if they don't figure out a way to rebound and overcome. And I'm with you, Joe. I think it'll be a close game, but I think it's got to be close towards the fourth quarter. If they go into this where they're down early, if the Ravens are about to they get up 21-3 or 21-10, I think it's done. So they got to keep it close the whole way through.
That game's at home, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
At the act.
At the ACK.
At the act, yeah.
Acupuncture field.
Yeah.
If here's a scenario, let's say they get off to a poor start. Let's say they get to a 3-and-out, regardless of who the quarterback is.
Oh, the boos are going to come.
The boos are going to come, and the Fire Canada chants are going to come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference in the Texans and the Steelers. The Texans would have been bombed out last week by us. And they go into this week. I think this week they've got the Falcons. Texans fans would have forgot about it. Like, hey, what happened here? I don't know. Let's just watch the game. Steeler fans, don't forget, they're still pissed. They're still going to be pissed at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And Joe, you're 110% correct. If it's an 0-3 or it's an interception or whatever, if it starts out bad, the boos are going to be just.
It's going to be exactly. It is going to get ugly. The crowd will turn on them big time. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Ay
is right. All right, guys. I would like to say I feel better. No, I'm just,
The only thing that made me feel better were the dogs.
Yes.
The dogs.
Collective misery.
The dogs. I wish my dog was available. All I'm just going to say is Avengers Assemble.
That's right.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks so
Bye,
much.
guys.
Yeah,
This
thank
was
you, guys.
awesome. Great
See
talk.
ya.
I'll see you later.